evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers and the Black Freedom Fund.
Only God can judge me. That right? Only God, man. Nobody else. Nobody else. All you other motherfuckers up out my business. Really? Perhaps I was blind to the facts. Stabbed in the back, I couldn't trust my own homies. Just a bunch of dirty facts. Will I succeed? Paranoid from the weed. And hocus pocus, try to focus, but I can't see. And in my mind, I'm a blind man doing time. Look to my future, cause my past is all behind me. Is it a crime to fight for what is mine? Everybody's dying. Tell me what's the use in trying? I've been trapped since birth. Cautious, cause I'm cursed. And fantasies of my family in the hurts. And they say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here. I can't lie, ain't no love for the other side. Jealousy inside, make them wish I died. Oh my Lord, tell me what I'm living for. Everybody's dropping, got me knocking on heaven's door. And all my memories of seeing brothers bleed. And everybody agrees, but still nobody sees. Recollect your thoughts, don't get caught up in the mix. Cause the media is full of dirty tricks. Only God can judge me.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the socials at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, D-R-N-I-I-Q, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or you can just tell Alexa if you're feeling fancy like that. And then last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you won't miss an episode. Now, listen, you were just listening to Only God Can Judge Me by Tupac Shakur. And that happens to be the name of this new book by Jeff Pearlman, New York Times bestselling author of The Last Folk Hero. It is about the many lives of Tupac Shakur. It is quite the read. At my count, it's over 400 pages. Very, 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 very thorough. We're going to get into this in short order. But first things first, let me just remind you that the Left Coast Forum is fast approaching. It is happening here in Los Angeles on October 25th. That's this Saturday. Be there or be square at LA Trade Tech. Just go to KBLA1580.com to register. Definitely a place you want to be. There will be some incredible keynotes by Dr. Cornel West, Richard Wolff, so many progressive leaning organizations on the front lines, from Liberty Hill Foundation to St. John's Community Health, LA Progressive. I mean, so many to name. It is the place to be. Now is the time to tap in to work that is afoot to defend our communities and defend our democracy. And with that, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Are you or aren't you a Toys R Us kid? Well, maybe at least a Toys R Us kid at heart. USA Today is reporting that Toys R Us may be making a comeback. Just saying, Toys R Us may be making a comeback. This is perhaps exciting news for some. Maybe not so exciting for others. Who knows? But Toys R Us is opening 30 new stores just in time for the holidays. Looking to boost sales this holiday season, Toys R Us is once again opening new stores. The toy retailer announced on October 16th that would open more than 30 locations in the U.S. for the winter holiday season, including 8 flagship stores and more than 20 temporary seasonal shops. Toys R Us, as you might remember, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2017, and by 2018, the toy retailer announced the closure of more than 700 stores throughout the U.S. Over the years, Toys R Us attempted comebacks under new ownership, but none have proven successful. Most recently, the retailer opened a flagship location in Minnesota's Mall of America in 2023, which does remain open, so that's a good sign. If you see a Toys R Us, show them some love. Toys R Us has had some challenges in recent years, clearly, and so keep that in mind as you prepare to shop this holiday season. If you're in Texas, you know what you might want to keep in mind? You might want to keep in mind Jasmine Crockett. The Griot is reporting that Jasmine Crockett is strongly considering running for the Texas U.S. Senate seat. U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett could run for the Texas seat next year amid current redistricting battles over the state's congressional map. The popular Democratic Congresswoman recently shared that she's strongly considering hopping into the 2026 primary against current candidates, former Representative Colin Allred, State Representative James Tallarico, and others. Black woman has never been elected to the U.S. Senate, not from Texas. Therefore, a win for Crockett would land her in the history books. However, the 44-year-old Congresswoman, she isn't yet ruling out a run for re-election in the U.S. House. Crockett said that she's waiting to see how the upcoming federal court ruling will play out to determine if a new partisan map drawn by state Republicans will go into effect in next year's midterm election. And then finally, speaking of Tupac, The Root is reporting that the now grown-up man who inspired Tupac's Brenda Got a Baby, that 1992 classic, has broken his silence in a fascinating update. It was back in January 1992 when Tupac Shakur was inspired to write a song about the heartbreaking story of a 12-year-old Brooklyn girl who was raped by a relative and in her desperation threw her newborn in the trash. Well, the real-life event inspired his hit, Brenda's Got a Baby, and it went on to become a classic. Decades later, a biographer connected the dots and located the newborn who inspired the track. Now that baby, who grew up on the opposite side of the country, is breaking his silence for the first time in 33 years with a fascinating update. That biographer who connected the dots is Jeff Pearlman, the author of Only God Can Judge Me, which just came out this Tuesday. When we come forward, hear what Jeff has to say about that story and more. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward with the author of the newest Tupac biography.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
With Civic Tax Relief, they were able to save me upwards of $80,000 that I would have had to pay had I not reached out to them.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies.
I owe the IRS $37,000.
They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS. By the time everything was completed, I didn't know the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500. Don't wait. Call now. 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Tavis Smiley with a final word here about the upcoming Left Coast Forum on Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. As you know by now, our major keynoters include Professor Richard Wolff and Dr. Cornel West. LA Mayor Karen Bass will be there as well. But listen to some of these plenaries: fighting for Black students and educational equity, resilience under Trumpism, how to stay sane under fascism, the battle for democracy, what's at stake in 2026, healthcare under attack, fighting Trump's cuts, and building patient power from seed to system, building a local food economy in South LA, theater as a force for change, voices from Palestine. The Constitution is not self-reinforcing, racism on the left, building communities of care, federal changes and their impact on healthcare in LA County, Committee for the First Amendment, and more. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. We'll see you there.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really excited to be in conversation with my next guest, Jeff Pearlman. He is the author of a book that you've got to get in your hands. It is a biography of Tupac Shakur. It's called Only God Can Judge Me. It comes out on October 21st. So much has been written about and spoken about Tupac over the years. But what makes this book really unique is that Jeff Pearlman, he breaks down Tupac's life like the veteran sports writer he is, examining Tupac as a dynasty. It's a detailed look at his life. It is an opportunity to learn about Tupac in a way that we haven't before. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I was actually wondering, when you were growing up, would people misspell your name in school all the time?
All the time. The first day of school was always the most challenging because you just want to blend in. And so, when the teacher would look out, by the time she got to my name on the roll sheet, I would just raise my hand to try and avoid conversations around like, oh, how do you pronounce it? And where is it from? And how do you spell it again? And, you just want to blend in. But
did you ever say to your parents, did you ever say, why didn't you just name me Bob?
Yes. Yes. I said, why didn't you just name me Nicholas? Nii-Quartelai Nicholas sound similar enough. I actually tried to bargain with my dad as a preteen to say, hey, we could just go to the courthouse. We can make this easy, change it to Nicholas. I don't have a middle name. So why don't you just give Nicholas as a middle name and I can go by Nicholas Quartey.
I'm here for you.
But I think Nii-Quartelai has a little more oomph.
First of all, I just want to say my name is Jeff. All right. And my brother's name is David. I would take any other name, technically. It's so boring. I don't know what my parents were thinking. I mean, it's fine, but at least you have a unique name and you have a story behind it. I got Jeff. So you win.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'll take. Speaking of speaking of unique names, Tupac Shakur, that's a name for the ages. For folks who are a little less familiar, I mean, you have written about a number of icons over the years. You are the best-selling author of 10 books. You've written about NFL legends Walter Payton and Brett Favre and Bo Jackson, among so many others. Why Tupac Shakur? Why did you decide to set your sights on Tupac?
So it's funny. When I told my agent I wanted to write a Tupac book, he literally said, "You are a white sports writer. Like, isn't that a little weird?" Because Tupac obviously is not just an icon of hip hop and to a small degree an icon of film. I do think he is an icon for sort of Black self-empowerment and resiliency and means something, like really means something. And it's different when you approach it from this vantage point. The thing is, I've been waiting for years. I'm a diehard Tupac fan. I'm a big hip hop fan. And I've been waiting for years for the book I wanted to read about Tupac. Like, I was waiting for years. I wanted a great Tupac book. I wanted the book that dives deep, not just surface. And I kept waiting. And sometimes as an author, you say, maybe I can write this book. Like, maybe I can write this book. So I just said to my agent, I really want to write a Tupac biography. And we looked for a deal, and amazingly, HarperCollins was dumb enough to let the sports writer write the Tupac book. And here I sit, the most unusual Tupac writer of 2025.
So with that, I've got to ask you the obvious question.
Please.
Jeff Pearlman, you are a white guy. You are a sports writer, right?
True.
And I say this as things that are, most people would say is not in the swim lane of a biographer of Tupac. Talk to us about the care that you took in telling the story, recognizing that you weren't in the culture, and you typically don't write about musical artists. And so talk to us about the self-awareness that you developed and the self-awareness that you believe you needed to have in order to tell the story with integrity.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I think in a lot of ways, saying it helped me might be a little bit of a stretch. What I acknowledged to everyone I interviewed, was the obvious. Look, I'm not obviously, I'm not Black. I'm not from Oakland. I'm not from LA. I'm a guy from upstate New York, right? But I always say, like, I did an interview, just as an example. I sat with, there's a guy named Brian Tynes, who was at the time when Tupac was growing up in Marin City, was the main crack dealer in Marin City. And I went up to Marin City and I sat with him in his car. It was me and Brian Tynes in his car, the crack dealer of Marin City. And I said to him, I swear to God, I said, look, man, it's obvious we did not have the same experience growing up. I'm a white guy from upstate New York. My dad was a CPA. My mom was a probation officer. I knew I was going to college. I never had to worry about violence or my mom becoming a drug addict, all this stuff. I didn't have any of that you had. I said, but you'll never have a person who is more interested in your life than me. Never. And I said that over and over again. And it wasn't a sales pitch. It was the truth. I mean, it is a sales pitch, but it's the truth. Like, I just went into this as a complete unbiased sponge of wanting to understand. And I had a moment, an incredible moment with Tupac's sister, Setua. And I went to New Orleans to interview Tupac's sister. She does not talk to many people, but someone put in a word for me. And I asked her what it was like. I said, what was it like for you moving from Baltimore to Marin City? She moved when she was young. And she said to me, there's your white privilege. Right there, there's your white privilege. And I go, what do you mean? And she's like, I didn't move from Baltimore to Marin City. I was relocated from Baltimore to Marin City. It is a different thing. And it was like, you have these moments where you're like, holy crap. And also, like, one more thing I'll say, you realize, especially as a white guy, you realize how horribly educated people are about the Black Panthers in this country. I would say Black and white, but in particular white, where so many people have been brainwashed or either uninformed, and they compare it to terrorists. Or they'll say the Black Panthers, or they hated white people and blah, 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 blah. But then Martin Luther King came along, like the quick, Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, wasn't just a Black Panther. She was a Black Panther who was pregnant with her son, being shuttled to and forth jail to courthouse to represent herself in the Panther 21 trial. She's one of the most important American figures at the bare minimum of the late 60s and 70s, and no one has taught about her at all. It infuriates me. So I was an open book about what I was hearing, and I'm certainly not in a position to give a lecture, in particular to Black people in America, to Black hip hop fans in America. It's not my place to tell you what Tupac means to you, but hopefully through interviewing 652 people, I can tell you what these people experienced with Tupac and what it meant to them and what his growth was.
What did Tupac mean to you as a white American man of a certain age? What did Tupac mean to you when you took on this assignment versus after you turned in your final manuscript?
That's a great question. I mean, it's interesting because I grew up in a town, my graduating class was 330 people, 2 Black kids in the class. One of those kids happened to be my best friend, Jonathan Powell. And John Powell was the one who introduced me to hip hop. I grew up in a town where it was Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and Whitesnake. And John Powell played for me Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos by Tupac. And I remember, I know it's a cliche, but that stuff hit me like a bomb. And then we were listening to Tony, Tony, Tony. I know Tony's more R&B, but still with the rap interlude by the guy Mercedes, who's actually Tupac's stepbrother, interestingly. And what you wind up getting, even, and I said this to Chuck D when I interviewed him, I was like, I know this isn't one of your top 10 goals, but you gave white kids like me an actual education that we were not getting in our schools from white teachers about what the Black experience is like in America. And Tupac, going into this book, I loved him as an artist. I knew I knew the skeletal bones of his story, but I walk away from it. It was a sad book to write. Like, his life was tragedy. He was a homeless, battered, fatherless, rats scurrying along the floorboard in his row house in Baltimore. His mom, this hero of his life, becoming a crack addict in Marin City, like a crack addict as bad as you could be crack addict. And he overcame all this and used all this stuff as fuel. People think of Tupac as like the sexy I get around Tupac. Tupac growing up was a scrawny kid with bad teeth, with walked like a duck, thrift store clothes, didn't smell very good, couldn't get a woman to go near him. Like, he was not what you think he became. He was a theater arts kid for much of his youth. He was a kid fluttering around listening to Kate Bush and Don McLean and writing these love letters to classmates. And just someone described, best way to describe him is what someone said to me. They said Tupac, as a younger man, was the kind of kid who would gently remove a ladybug from his hand and put it on a leaf. They said that was who Tupac was.
Whoa.
It's a good quote. I love that quote.
I mean, as you say that, I think about the rose that grew through concrete.
Yep, of course. Of course. He was a sensitive soul. He was a tender. If you read his, all right, I tracked down Tupac's high school girlfriend from Baltimore. Her name was Mary. She lives in Nebraska. She told me she never talked to anyone, but she said she would talk to me. And her mom had recently found, this is amazing. Her mom had recently found under her bed 150 love letters that Tupac had written her in high school. And nobody had seen them before.
150 love letters from Tupac?
Correct. To Mary Baldridge, a white ballet dancer whose parents were communists, right? And Mary lives in Nebraska now. And she said, if you come out to Nebraska, I'll show you the letters. And I went out to Nebraska and we sat at a coffee place in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. And I was reading through the letters and they're just beautiful. Like, his writing was beautiful. He was a poet way before he was a rapper. And he was horny and he was sad and he was heartbroken and he hated his mom, but he loved Mary and he just wanted to have sex with Mary. But he also thought he was going to leave his house and he couldn't stand his mom. And it was just this writing that was so rich and detailed and nuanced. And he was just like 16 years old. Guy was a genius. Seriously, he was a flawed genius, obviously, in many ways, but he was a genius.
Wow. I mean, what's so fascinating about this work, about Tupac, and again, we want to encourage our leaders, learners, and listeners to pick it up. It's called Only God Can Judge Me. It comes out October 21st. What's so great about this is you're relying on the words of family members and close friends, including Tupac's sister participated in this. She has not spoken on the record about Tupac in decades, as I understand it. Jeff Pearlman, the author, he chronicles this emotional journey as a young Tupac, who, again, his mom hero, Black Panther icon, becomes crack addicted, right? And so, what I love about your approach to this is that we really get a more comprehensive view of Tupac's origin story. And getting a more comprehensive view of his origin story, I think it might help us to look at some of the Black men and boys in our lives, in our world, with a bit more compassion. No?
No, I think, honestly, God, I'll speak as a white author. Like, I actually think so many people beat up on this kid when he was young. And you realize I know it sounds dumb, but like you realize what that does to someone's psyche when you're just rejected and rejected and rejected. And there are these scenes, like he would walk through this arcade with his friends in Baltimore and they would play Punch Out, this old game. This is Mike Tyson's Punch Out. But you'd see people walking by. It sounds dumb, but like, or trite. He'd see people walking by eating a slice of pizza. Well, Tupac couldn't afford a slice of pizza. You'd see people eating a pretzel. He couldn't afford a pretzel. And he'd look in the windows and see the new pants and the new styles. And he told his friend, if I could just have some money, I would take care of my mom and I would pay for studio time. And this is when he was like 14 years old. And his friend's like, studio time? He's like, yeah, I just want to record and I just want to put down what I have to say on tracks. He was like 14 years old, and he just wanted to take care of his mom in studio time. And it was a trap. I'm telling you, whatever you've heard about Tupac, the heartbreak and the sadness and just the feeling of relocating all the time. And at one point, his mom used to drop him and his sister off at a movie theater in New York City. And she would say, just spend the day going from movie to movie. And they would sit in there, and Seth said this to me. It'd be Indiana Jones, then it'd be The Muppets Take Manhattan, and they just bounce around all day while their mom was looking for work, trying to find a way to take care of her kids. And she had nowhere to leave them and no babysitter, so she just plopped them in the movie theater. Or there were times Seth told me they'd walk along the highway in New York City with a squeegee and a bucket. You've seen these guys maybe just trying to clean windows to make a couple of extra dollars. It was not a glorious past at all.
It was.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Archaeologists have found dozens of unmarked graves at Tulsa's Oak Lawn Cemetery during the latest search for 1921 race massacre victims.
We have now documented 31 new graves that were not previously recorded or otherwise marked.
2 sets of remains have been exhumed so far. Officials say no direct link to the massacre has been confirmed. Black Congressman Kwesi Mfume has introduced a resolution of inquiry seeking answers on the Trump administration's alleged use of partisan messaging on government sites and emails. He says the actions may violate the Hatch Act and laws requiring federal programs to remain nonpartisan. And a stretch of Great Jones Street in Lower Manhattan, New York is being renamed for iconic artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, honoring his legacy as a visionary Black creator who reshaped modern art. Basquiat lived and worked there from 1983 until his death in 1988. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Slowing in Norwalk on the 605 northbound, leaving the 105 freeway. Delays all the way to the 10. Now, the 10 is a bit extra this afternoon. Delays overall starting in Santa Monica from 20th Street, and they go beyond the 5 as you continue into City Terrace and beyond all the way to Azusa. It's tough on the 60 eastbound as well, leaving Boyle High top of the 5. You're on the brakes ahead all the way to the 57 freeway. That 57 northbound, that's where delays begin out of Anaheim from Catella in stretches all the way to the 60.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced Wednesday morning that the league is not replacing Latino superstar Bad Bunny as the main performer for the Super Bowl halftime show. Bad Bunny was picked in September by the NFL to perform at the Super Bowl of February 8th in Santa Clara, California. Conservative groups and some Republicans have been pressuring the NFL to take the Puerto Rico native off the show because of his criticism of President Trump and Trump's immigration policies. When Trump heard that Goodell is not replacing Bad Bunny, he called the decision crazy and ridiculous. This is an interesting situation for the NFL. Many of the league's 32 owners are privately Trump supporters and have donated to both of his presidential campaigns. The real test for the NFL is whether conservatives can convince advertisers to join them in boycotting the Super Bowl. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers and the Black Freedom Fund.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Hit me! National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's not. I mean, I don't know if this came up in your research, but there's a post that's gone viral on social media about the song "Brenda Had a Baby." And
That's from me. No, that's from my book, man.
Was that from your book? Get out
from
of
my book. I found the baby.
Yeah, so there is a clip that's circulating for our Leaders Learner listeners that are less familiar. You have to be hide under a rock to not know the song "Brenda Had a Baby." Brenda Has a Baby by Tupac, and the baby is a grown adult. It's an adult man, and he connected with his mother, Brenda. It turns out that was a true story.
That's wait. Okay, I'm working on this book. I love the song "Brenda's Got a Baby." I'm fascinated by it. I read somewhere, I saw a video where Tupac was filming the movie Juice. His co-star was Omar Epps. Tupac used to read the New York Daily News every day. They're filming in New York. There's an article one day called "Cries in the Night" in the Daily News. It's about a 12-year-old girl who was raped by a cousin, delivered the baby by herself on the bathroom floor in the Noble Drew Ali public housing unit in Brooklyn. Puts the baby in a plastic bag, throws the baby down the chute. It's the day the compactor is supposed to go off. Someone working down there hears the baby crying, rescues the baby. Tupac reads about this in the New York Daily News, says to Omar Epps, "I'm going to go into my trailer." Comes back out. Brenda's got a baby, but Brenda's barely got a brain. A damn shame. The girl can hardly spell her name. Writes his awesome song in like 30 minutes. I'm like, we need to find the baby. I work with a genealogist named Michelle Sully who can find any human being on the planet. Michelle one day sends me a phone number. She's like, "I think this is the kid. His name is Davon Hodge." I text him. I'm like, "This is kind of random, but my name's Jeff Perlman, blah, blah, blah." I sent him the article. "By any chance, is this you?" He's like, holy crap. He lives in Las Vegas. I go out a couple of days later. I'm sitting down with Davon Hodge in Las Vegas. It turns out he was throwing down the trash heap. his baby died. He moved to, he was adopted. He moved to Las Vegas. A couple years ago, his adoptive parents died. He does an ancestry.com search. It comes back all these tentacles in Brooklyn, New York. He reaches out to them. Holy cow, we've been looking for you. Holy cow, we've been looking for you. Holy cow. By the way, do you like Tupac? I love Tupac. Do you know the song Brenda's Got a Baby? Of course I do. We think you're the baby. He goes to Brooklyn. He meets with the family. He shows me a photo of him literally as an adult standing next to the trash chute that he was thrown down. It's this amazing moment for him of reunion. I say to my genealogist, we should find the mom. My genealogist is a freaking wizard times 1,000. She calls this number one day. She's like, is this Jeanette? Who is this? My name's Michelle. I'm working with an author named Jeff Pearlman on a book about Tupac. By any chance, did you have a 12-year-old, did you have a baby when you were 12? She starts screaming. Do you know where my baby is? Do you know where my baby is? Michelle's like, we do. She's like, oh my God, oh my God. She's crying and screaming. I need to find him. I need to find him. She says, I live in Newark, New Jersey, but I'm away from home for a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. My genealogist says, where's the concert? She says, in Las Vegas. She says, your son lives in Las Vegas, and they meet that night. That's how my book opens. So that's cool.
Gosh, oh my gosh. How does it feel to know that this assignment that you took on, that it resulted in this reunion between Brenda and the baby? I mean, this is an iconic song. This is one of Tupac's, biggest hits.
Yeah, no, it made my day. It's the best reporting find of my 30 years, Always have a good genealogist to work with. That's a lesson. Always have a good genealogist to work with.
That is those are very wise words. Let's talk a little bit about Tupac's sex life. You get into it in the book. There's been a lot of speculation over the years. He raps about having an insatiable sexual appetite. You offer us a window into his sex life, unlike any before. From his first sexual encounter when he was 14, you just talked about the love letters exchanged with his high school girlfriend, and an occasional sexual fluidity.
Well, and it sounds more titillating than it is. He, like everything in his life, trauma. He was 14 years old the first time he had sex. It was with a cousin. When he was 15, he had sex with one of his mother's friends and thought he loved the friend, and thought he fell in love with this adult woman. And she's basically like, child, it was just sex. So he has this traumatic relationship with sex early on. When he goes to, but this is not, I don't even consider it scandalous. That's the thing. He goes to Baltimore School for the Arts, and this is a artsy school of experimentation, like truly of experimentation, theatrically, everything. And he has his like moments where he kisses boys in the school. I'm not suggesting because I don't think it matters that he's gay or straight. A lot of people said to me they would have considered him fluid growing up, that he was kind of fluid and they just experimented like a lot of people at that time did. And then as he got older, I mean, he was, he had a lot of sex with a lot of women in his life. I interviewed for there's a song, How Do You Want It? And he hired an adult film star named Ron Hightower to direct the movie, direct a video. And it was supposed to be Tupac walking through his own wet dream. That was the idea of the video. And on the set, this guy, Ron Hightower, hired 50 porn stars, many famous sports stars. And I mean, Tupac, he kind of ruined the video, Ron Hightower said, because he just kept trying to have sex with the different women in the video. He had this insatiable, maybe he was a sex addict, I don't even know, but he had an insatiable carnal desire for weed, for Hennessy, for cigarettes, and certainly for women.
Wow. No surprise there for anybody who listens to Tupac's music. But let's talk about Tupac in prison. In this book, you provide this behind-the-scenes detail about his time in prison, specifically friendships that he made and the life that he lived. What can you tell us about the life that he lived behind bars?
Fascinating. So he was in Rikers Island first, and then he went to Clinton Correctional Facility. This is for the sexual battery of Ayanna Jackson. Prison leads to very strange and interesting bedfellows. Well, first of all, everyone I talked to, there were all these rumors that he was raped in prison. I don't think it happened. Everyone I interviewed many people who served time with him, worked in the prison. To a man, they were like, that did not happen. That just didn't happen. That was a stupid rumor. Tupac's closest friend in prison was a kid from Long Island named Shannon Siegel, a white Jewish kid who was in prison for beating up a black classmate with a baseball bat. And he was sent to prison. And Tupac and Shannon Siegel were inseparable in prison. And another one of his close friends was a guy named Joey Fama, who was in prison for the shooting death of Yusef Hawkins, a black teenager in New York City. So basically, Tupac's closest prison friends were both guys who Al Sharpton led civil rights marches against. And he was just looking for company and he was looking for people to spend time with. And Tupac went, like, when he emerged from prison, when he emerged from Clinton, when he was bailed out and went to death row, all he took with him were binders and binders of writing. Like he wrote so many things in prison. He wrote screenplays in prison. He wrote poems in prison. And that first day out, when he signs with Death Row and he flies to LA, he goes to Monty's Steakhouse to eat. He goes to Can-Am Studios. He takes a nap. He gets out from the nap and he records 7 songs his first day out of prison, including I Ain't Mad at Ya and Ambitions as a Rider. Like he was just ready to go, ready to go, ready to go, hopping between studios. It was cool.
I don't know many people who recorded 7 songs when they come out of prison.
I don't know if people record 7 songs in a day period. Great level of productivity, but I guess he was itching to go, you know?
Wow, wow, wow. I mean, just, so many insights about Tupac. And what's really great about this book is because of the folks who participated, because so many, friends, childhood friends, family members participated, you really sort of put a lot of the rumors to rest. Let's talk about the final days of Tupac, where you basically recreated all the movements that led to that fatal encounter, as well as the near misses that could have kept him alive. What was the most stirring insight from his final days that you captured on the page?
I mean, there were a couple of things. It's funny, I interviewed the officer who got to him after he was shot, the first officer who got to him, because basically he shot at the intersection of Flamingo and Colville in Vegas. He's a passenger seat of Suge Knight's car, and he drives off, and they wind up, but they've been shot up, so they wind up on the side of the road. And that night in Vegas, they were understaffed. The police staff was understaffed. So it was a bicycle cop who shows up. He's literally riding his bicycle, and he gets to the scene, and he pulls his gun out, and he's pointing it at Suge Knight's car. And he sees Tupac. Tupac kind of slumps out of the car. The door opens. He opens, slumps out. And the officer swore to me. He's like, Tupac looked at it. He's like, are you okay? The cop is like, are you okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? He said Tupac looked at him, and this is very Tupac. And his last words to him were, F you. And then he slumped to the ground. I think a lot of people, I entered this book. The one thing that stayed consistent with me is I entered this book finding Tupac's death just so stupid, like just stupid. Like it didn't have anything to do with how he was raised as a Panther cub and his mom and the pride. It was him being impulsive and punching a member of the Compton Crips and them getting a revenge on him. It was, why are you doing this? Why are you punching this guy? Why are you going up to him? Why is Death Row letting you go up to him? And it was so unnecessary. Like it breaks my heart still, having written this book. Like you're 25 years old. You are so gifted. You are so talented. You have so much going for you. You are so smart. You're one of the great writers of your period. And you die in a really stupid and unnecessary gang-related altercation. It sucks. I hate it so much. I wish there were a nice ending to this book. I truly do. I hate it so much. I will tell you, I did find Tupac's grave, which I don't think anyone knew existed. True story.
Where is it?
In Lumberton, North Carolina, on an abandoned lot.
Wait a minute, Jeff. Wait a minute. You're saying that Tupac's grave is in North Carolina?
It's in Lumberton, North Carolina, on an abandoned lot. So his mom, he was cremated, and a bunch of his ashes were thrown to sea, and she saved some of his ashes. And she was born and raised in Lumberton, and she went back there, built a house, built a grave, buried the ashes in the grave. There's a tombstone. Literally, I stood above Tupac Shakur's tombstone. The lot, she died in 2016. No one has lived in this house since. And on the property is Tupac Shakur's tombstone. And I was taken there because the caretaker of the property gave me a tour. And he said, do you want to see where Tupac's buried? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, do you want to see where Tupac's buried? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, all right, follow me. And he took me to the grave. And there it was. There's a picture of it in the book. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Fresh insights, all up in this book. Jeff really helps readers to understand why Tupac's legacy looms so large, even decades after his death. In this exhaustive, comprehensive work, it's called Only God Can Judge Me. It stands as the first book to fully reckon with the complexity of Tupac Shakur. Wowie kazowie. I mean, we could talk, for hours and hours and hours about these insights. I assume you're going to be going on a book tour now.
They don't do it like that. I live in California, so I'm doing like a California tour, but they don't do, just publishing has changed a lot. And like, I actually get it. Like sending an author to a bookstore in Cleveland, Ohio, you're paying for the flight, you're paying for lodging, you're paying for food, and you probably sell 40 books. It's one thing if you're like sadly these days, if you're a celebrity chef or you're like on the Real Housewives, but if you're Jeff Pearlman, book writer, it's not really worth it. So I do my own stuff. It's a lot of media. I'm also telling you right now, I'm making you this trade. If you want to trade names, I'm in. Give me one shot of it. This is my one offer. I'll throw in a signed book if you do it. But I don't know what I would sign it. I don't know what I would sign it. Which name do I use when I sign the book?
I want the signed book anyway. First things
right.
first.
Yeah.
But secondly, if you're walking around with Nii-Quartelai, I don't know, people might think you albino or something. I don't know. All love. Our thanks to Jeff Pearlman. We really want to encourage our leaders, learners, and listeners to go out and pick up this book. It makes for a great holiday gift. The holidays are right around the corner. I know my high school best friend is a big Tupac fan. And so, cover your ears, Jazz. You just might get this for Christmas.
You know what they say? Nothing says Happy Hanukkah like a Tupac biography.
There you have it. You're listening to and streaming on More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Our thanks to Jeff Pearlman, the author of Only God Can Judge Me.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Nice work, man.
More Perfect Union.
Take good care, okay?
1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in the National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
In San Diego, kids are standing up against big tobacco.
We are here to discuss the urgent issue of vapes being sold near schools and other places where people gather.
I was enticed, like so many others my age, and this is exactly how the tobacco market was trying to get me to react. And I was completely unaware.
Today, over 100 California communities restrict tobacco sales near youth spaces, like schools and parks. Learn how these teens and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community, educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org.
You ready? You're invited to the KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Fair on Saturday, November 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Catch at Audubon Middle School in Leimert Park, 4120 11th Avenue. Join us for a day of health, healing, and community connection. There will be health screenings, immunizations, wellness information, a Catch Charter School recruitment fair, plus music and healthy snacks. And it's all free at the KBLA Talk 1580 Community Health and Wellness Wellness Fair, Saturday, November 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Audubon Middle School in Lamert Park, 4120 11th Avenue. Come out and bring the entire family. And if you have not yet checked out our KBLA Health and Wellness Hub, you should at KBLA1580.com. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks Catch Charter School, Prudential, Eastside, Cedar Sinai, and St. John's Community Health. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that a healthy community is a thriving community.
That's right, baby.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation today with Jeff Pearlman. He is the author of Only God Can Judge Me. This is quite a read. This is quite a read for any Tupac fan out there. This is a great gift for the holidays and otherwise. And I just think some of the best biographies, some of the best documentaries actually reveal things about people that we didn't know. They reveal things that, where we thought we knew everything about them. It's like, wait a minute. There's even more beyond the surface. And so this book definitely hits that mark. Now it's time for the quiet part out loud. Everybody has been talking about this today. If you have been on social media today, I'd be surprised if you didn't see anything referencing the sudden change in plan at the White House as Trump is demolishing the White House East Wing entirely. And it's worth noting that the White House East Wing is history. It's history. USA Today reports that a White House spokesperson confirmed that the entirety of the East Wing, which traditionally houses the First Lady's office, will be undergoing quote unquote modernization and renovation as a new ballroom is built, in a stark reversal of earlier plans when the White House first released their plans for this 90,000 square foot ballroom on July 31st. President Trump told reporters that the addition would, quote, be built over on the east side and it will be beautiful. He went on to say it'll have views of the Washington Monument, that it won't interfere with the current building, and it'll be near it but not touching it, and pay total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. That's what the president said in July. Well, plans have changed. The scope and size of the ballroom project has always been subject to vary as the scope and size of the process develop, but Trump told reporters today that the decision to tear down the entire structure was made after, quote unquote, tremendous amounts of study with some of the best architects in the world. He went on to say, in order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure. We asked about not being transparent. The folks over at USA Today and other outlets asked about not being transparent, about knocking down the entire East Wing. And Trump said he'd shown the plans to everybody that would listen. The demolition work began yesterday, and pictures from the site have set off a flurry of criticism. The site of the facade of the East Wing is being ripped off, and it's angered a lot of people, including former First Lady Hillary Clinton, who said, quotes, "It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it." That's what she wrote on X. The National Trust for Historic Places, they urged the administration and the National Park Service to pause demolition until plans for the proposed ballroom, quotes, go through the legally required public review process, including consultation and reviews by the National Capital Planning Commission and the Commission of Fine Arts, both of which it said have authority to review new construction at the White House. That's what they said. Trump has embarked on a whole lot of changes in the White House and in Washington, from gold accents in the Oval Office and paving over the Rose Garden lawn to this proposed new arch across from the Lincoln Memorial. Some might say, okay, he's changing the structure of the White House. What's it to you? I think part of the reason why folks are reacting, and rightfully so, is because it feels metaphorically that Trump is taking a wrecking ball, not just to the physical structure of the East Wing of the White House, but to our democracy, to so many of the things that maybe we've taken for granted as being normal, that he is skirting around standards and practices, rules and regulations. That doesn't give us any comfort. It does the opposite. It only gives us even more concern. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village who helps us produce A More Perfect Union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tabitha Smiley, our sound engineer, Brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji Muhammad, to Art Sears and Journey Burris, and of course, each and every one of you. We curate the show every day with you in mind. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed producing it for your enjoyment. Remember, don't panic, organize, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.